In the town of Oakhaven, nestled between rolling hills and whispering trees, lived a young woman named Elara. Elara was known for two things in the quaint town: her enchanting voice and her lush, overgrown garden. Her father, the town's elder, vehemently opposed the match. In reality, her father had plans to sacrifice her child, believing it would grant him unimaginable powers. Meanwhile, Cashin, unaware of the impending danger, continued to visit Elara, bringing her food and supplies. One with eyes like her father's, and the other with hair the color of moonlight. And an eerie silence hung over the town, overgrown and wild, just as she had left it. But something had changed. A dark, ominous presence seemed to emanate from its depths. Curiosity and a sense of foreboding compelled her to step inside. From its depths, a voice boomed, echoing through the cavernous space. "So you have found me. Why have you trespassed, child? Speak, so I can decide your fate." Elara hesitated, torn between fear and a burgeoning determination. The whispers, now a cacophony, urged her on. Taking a deep breath, she steadied her voice and spoke. "I seek answers. Answers about my past, about the town, and about the whispers that have haunted me for so long. What brings you here, child of prophecy?" Elara felt the full weight of her connection to Oakhaven pressing down on her. The whispers grew louder, their voices swirling around her, becoming a part of her. She discovered that they were the echoes of the townspeople. Elara's garden had been the epicenter of Oakhaven's magic, the place where the townspeople gathered to harness the Nexus's energy. It was here that the whispers were born. Here that the townspeople had unknowingly made contact with the Keeper's realm. Trapped in the town when it was enveloped by the Keeper's magic, he had imprisoned them. "Do it, child," they cried, their voices echoing with urgency. "Free us and bring balance to Oakhaven." "I am ready," she whispered, her voice echoing with newfound strength. The whispers intensified, their voices swirling around her, becoming a part of her. Each step forward brought new revelations, new echoes of the past. Fearing their presence might disrupt the delicate balance of his realm. But over time, the whispers had become a part of the town's magic. She felt their love for the land, their determination to build a life in the shadow of the Keeper's magic. But she also saw their fears, their regrets, their pain, woven into the fabric of Oakhaven itself. Her voice, echoing with newfound power, rang throughout the chamber. "You have freed us and restored balance to Oakhaven. I am your descendant," she declared, meeting the specter's gaze. "And I will restore balance to Oakhaven." But the town and its people needed more. And although the scars of the past remained, a testament to the town's enduring spirit, hope loomed anew in Oakhaven, nurtured by the whispers of the wind and the touch of the moonlight. She used her connection to the land, to the whispers of Oakhaven, to help grow crops, to heal the sick, and to protect from harm. With each revelation, the vortex within the chamber seemed to intensify, the energy thrumming in time with the whispers. Elara recoiled, her gaze fixed on the swirling vortex. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. This was the crux of her journey, not just to free the townspeople, but to heal the land, to restore balance to the magical nexus. For with every step she took, she felt the town's magic responding. The spectral bonds that held the townspeople began to weaken, their whispers turning from despair to gratitude. A place where the veil between the physical and spiritual realms was thin. For the child of the elder, to free the townspeople from their spectral bonds, Elara must face the specters of her ancestors, the embodiment of Oakhaven's pain and suffering. The vortex within the chamber surged, its energy coalescing into a radiant beam that shot skyward. Elara, drained but resolute, turned to face the townspeople who now stood before her, their faces etched with gratitude and awe. Through the newly opened portal, Elara could see the townspeople, their forms solidifying, their whispers becoming voices. They were the price she must pay for understanding. believing she would be the key to restoring balance to Oakhaven. But her father's actions had disrupted the equilibrium, twisting the town's magic and trapping its people. The keeper believed that Alara, with her unique connection to the town and her own inherent magical abilities, could restore balance. The elders of Oakhaven had sought to harness this energy, and in doing so, had inadvertently summoned the keeper. Imprisoned within the town's magical nexus, the keeper had become a part of the very essence of Oakhaven. The vortex within the chamber pulsed, mirroring the churning of her thoughts. The whispers, now a roaring torrent, filled her ears, urging her toward the climax of the keeper's tale. The garden had become a place of shadows and secrets. She asked, her voice echoing in the vast chamber. The keeper's voice took on a somber tone. The price of understanding. The allure of the unknown warred with the fear that gnawed at her. But the whispers, now a chorus, urged her on. Pay the price, child, they urged, their voices weaving together in a hypnotic chant. Are you willing to pay it, child? Vines had wrapped around ancient stones, forming cryptic patterns. Ambition burns bright in you, child, but it is a dangerous flame. Be warned, the answers you seek may not be what you desire. Ilara's resolve hardened. I am ready, she declared, meeting the unseen gaze within the swirling energy. The air grew colder, and whispers, faint yet distinct, brushed against her ears. I am willing, she whispered, her voice echoing with newfound determination. The keeper stirred within the vortex, and a low rumble echoed through the chamber. Very well, he said, his voice resonating with ancient power. Then let us begin. Then slowly, as if testing, he began to weave his tale. This place holds many secrets, child, and the whispers you hear are the echoes of those who have come before you seeking knowledge. But true wisdom comes at a price, and I am the keeper of that price. What had been home to nearly 200 people was now a ghost town. As Alara reached out to touch it, the ground trembled. The monolith split open, revealing a spiral staircase leading down into darkness. A single word was inscribed at its base: beware. Alara hesitated, her fingers hovering over the cold stone. The whispers intensified, weaving tales of forgotten magic and slumbering evil. A chill snaked down her spine. But her curiosity, perhaps her undoing, urged her forward. As she walked through the deserted streets, memories flooded her, each echo reverberating in the unsettling quiet. Each step echoed in the oppressive silence, carrying her deeper into the earth. At the bottom, she found herself in a vast chamber illuminated by an otherworldly glow. In the center, an ornately carved wooden box pulsed with a faint, rhythmic light. As Alara approached, the whispers reached a crescendo, their voices growing stronger, more insistent. They urged her to open the box, their whispers morphing into commands. Yet a part of Alara yearned for Oakhaven, wondering if the town had moved on without her. One day, driven by nostalgia, she decided to return, unaware that the very items he brought were being used in dark rituals by the town's elder. He forbade her from seeing Cashin again, but the lovers secretly continued to meet. Soon, Alaric found herself expecting a child. Torn between her love for Cashin and her loyalty to her father, she confided in him, hoping for understanding. However, her father, consumed by his obsession with arcane lore, saw this as a chance to delve into forbidden knowledge. He believed that the child within Ilara might hold the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. So he devised a sinister plan. He built a shed near the old well and tricked Alara into believing it was for her confinement. The garden was a wild tangle of vines and flowers, a sanctuary that drew many admirers, including Lord Cashin, a nobleman from the neighboring estate. One day, Lord Cashin confessed his love to Alaric, who reciprocated his feelings, but their joy was short-lived. But the truth was far more nefarious. As Alara's time came closer, the townspeople began to whisper, suspecting her pregnancy. Fearing exposure, her father decided to flee with her to the mountains. He believed that there, away from prying eyes, he could raise their grandchild and use them when the time was right. Elara, though initially resistant, eventually succumbed to his manipulation, perhaps because deep down she understood her father better than anyone else. She knew that even if she escaped, Cassin would never understand what drove her or her father. And so she left Oakhaven with a heavy heart, bidding farewell to the only life she had ever known. Years passed, and Elara grew old in the mountains, giving birth to twin boys. Upon arriving, she noticed that the once familiar streets were now desolate. The houses were in ruins, the gardens untended, and she saw it, her garden, or what remained of it. Suddenly, a gust of wind rustled the leaves, revealing a weathered stone monolith adorned with arcane symbols. With a deep breath, she descended the stairs, leaving the overgrown world above. Her hand trembled as she touched the box, and it flew open, revealing a swirling vortex of energy. "I am the Keeper," the voice boomed, resonating with ancient power, "and this place is bound to my essence." The Keeper stirred within the vortex, his tone laced with amusement. The Keeper was silent for a moment, his presence thrumming with power. He paused, and Elara felt the weight of his words. "What price?" Elara hesitated. Taking a deep breath, Elara met the unseen gaze within the vortex. As the Keeper delved into the town's history, she learned that the town of Oakhaven had been built upon a nexus of powerful earth energies, but it was the whispers that truly captivated Elara's attention. And then there was the garden. As Elara absorbed these revelations, he revealed that he had been waiting for her. However, there was a cost. Elara stood resolute, her gaze fixed on the swirling vortex. The whispers, now deafening, urged her on. Taking a deep breath, Elara reached out to the vortex, her fingers brushing against the swirling energy. As Elara faced her ancestors, she felt the full weight of Oakhaven's history pressing down on her. She saw visions of her ancestors, their hopes, their dreams, their struggles, and their sacrifices. Yet Elara pressed on, her determination fueled by the whispers, by the hope that flickered within her. Finally, as Elara stood before the most powerful specter, she understood. And in that moment, Elara drew upon the strength of her ancestors, the whispers of the townspeople, and the love for her family and her home. As Elara poured her essence into Oakhaven, the magical nexus responded. Then as suddenly as it began, it was over. The vortex faded, the beam of light receded, and the chamber fell silent. "You have done what we could not," the town elder said, his voice trembling with emotion. Elara, her heart filled with the whispers of the grateful townspeople, knew that her journey was far from over. She had restored balance to Oakhaven. As the townspeople began to rebuild their lives, Elara stayed, helping where she could. And so Elara, the child of prophecy, became Elara the healer, her name whispered with reverence on the wind.